Okay, so today we're going to have an unboxing, a review and a test of the Ender 3 Pro. Welcome back to International 3D Printer. I'm Lee. Today we're going to do the unboxing, build and test of the Ender 3 Pro. And I went for this instead of the normal Ender 3 because it's got it's not so much more money than the Ender 3, the normal Ender 3, but it does have some distinct advantages to the normal Ender 3. Now what I want to do today is going to unbox this, build it, do a quick build like we have done in the last couple as well, last couple of videos that I've done, and then we'll do a quick test. Fingers crossed we'll actually get a finished model off of this test today. That would be a first actually on camera, I think. I don't know if the camera's jinxed or I am or just the machines, but we shall see. As I've explained before, the reasoning behind getting other printers, I do have lots of Prusa's. I've got all my Prusa's working now, even the two minis are working well, touch wood. The last time I did a video, I said, yeah, they're all going well, and bosh, they all went down. I think both the minis went down again, and I had 4 Mark 3s go down as well, or 2 Mark 3Ss and 2 Mark 3s. But they're all up and running now. I've got them all switched off at the moment, otherwise you wouldn't be able to hear a thing. The last unboxing I did was the Ender 5 Pro. Still haven't got that working. As you saw from the video, there was a problem with the hot end in the fact that the actual heatsink tube had snapped, and the block where the block had moved, it pulled it, snapped it somehow, and the filament was leaking out of it. Nothing I could do, no repair to it either once I took it apart. Creality EU have said, yep, fine, no problem, they'll send a replacement, but because of obviously the coronavirus and what have you, it has taken a while. That was, I think I released that video well over a month ago now, and I still haven't seen the replacement, but they have said they're going to send it. I've had to pay the postage on it, which I've got to say I was a little bit aggrieved at. They said, oh no, we'll send you the replacement part, but you've got to pay shipping. Well, why? It's your fault that the machine's done, but way how, I wanted to get it sorted. So I wanted to get an original part rather than one that from Amazon, because I could have got a whole replacement hot end from Amazon for, I don't know, 20 euros, something like that. But I didn't want to do that, I wanted the original one. Obviously I paid for it anyway. So, but this, the Ender 3 Pro, I bought this off of Creality EU again. They tend to be very good with their shipping, very quick. Customer service seems to be good as well so far. I bought this for, I think it was about 250 euros, more or less. And I think it's a great price if it is a machine. Looking at, everyone says an Ender 3 is the best machine you can buy for under 300 bucks. The Ender 3 is 200 euros, 220 euros to 200 pounds. This was 250, I think it was on special offer, it was 250 euros. So it's about 230 pounds, more or less, 225 pounds, something like that. Around about $270. And I went for the Ender 3 Pro over the Ender 3 because it does have the power supply, some extra bits and bobs. There are lots of videos explaining the comparisons between the two. I'm not going to go into them all. Just suffice it to say that it's better upgrades, it's more sturdy, and the power supply is a named power supply. So I think the power supply is quite important with these machines, because when they're banging away for 24, 48 hours at a time, you don't want a dodgy power supply kicking off while you're in bed or something like that. So I have these running all night. All of these printers run all night, all day. So I really rather pay the extra and get a decent power supply, and the whole power board, etc. has some form of credulity to it. Anyway, so what we're going to do today, we're going to do the unboxing first, then we'll do a quick build video, quick whiz through the build video, and then fingers crossed we'll get a test out and running. So I think without further ado, we'll do the unboxing. But okay, it's quite a small box. I would say this is probably half the size of the Ender 5 Pro box. Completely, it is pretty much exactly half the size. Haven't had a look inside it yet. There are loads of these videos on the internet, unboxing of the Enders and all that lot. But I'll quickly go through it just so you can see what comes in there. Protective sheeting, and it's got lots of these little noggins that sit inside other bits as well, which I think is really good. Stop parts from moving. We have instruction manual, power supply over here. It's packaged very well. There we go. So this is a Meanwhile power supply, if I remember rightly. So very nice screen, the LCD screen, filament feeder, some extrusions, and then we've got the Y-frame, one of these, which I think is a bed leveling screw. Oh no, we have more. We have another motor here, spool holder, power cable, and various assortments of tools and whatnots, and some more extrusions. That is your lot. Recycle. Okay, so that's everything in the box. We've got a couple of packs of extrusions. We've got the power supply, various doodads and doohickeys, power leads, LCD screen, instructions, the whole Y assembly, and I would imagine that's the Z motor by the looks of it. I can't say, it doesn't say on there, but that's what I assume it to be. And that is the lot. So I think next thing we'll do, we're going to get everything together and do the build. Ta-da! All done! So let's power this baby up and see what we've got. So we are about, it took me 20 minutes to build, and we are now 2 hours more long over that 20 minutes. Got some complaints. Still haven't got it working yet, I haven't even turned it on yet, and I'll just show you for why. First off, I'm just going to bring this over a bit and maybe zoom you in just a tad. There we go. Okay. This bar here is level. This bar here is not. And this little piggy climbed wee all the way freaking home. Now, what I did, I'll put this together. Quite straightforward. You would have thought that all the nuts would align and the holes would align with everything. Put it up together and I put this on, put it all together. So, oh, really good. That's excellent. That's excellent. But when I pulled this up level, and I thought, hang on a sec, it's slanted. It was all pissed. It was like that. So I got the ruler out, measured either end of this, the X. It was like 5 millimeters out on one side. So I took the top off, took it apart, realigned it, put it back on, put it in, and it was still a couple of millimeters the other way. Then took it off. And it turns out that these two holes, you got access here. You can access from the back, but they're in line with the verticals. Same on this side. And it turns out that those holes aren't like precision machined. So really you've got two holes that's separated by about 3 centimeters, okay? And those, or 4 centimeters, It's 3.5 centimeters. So they should line up perfectly so that when you put the screws in, there should be no play on the brackets that you attach to the thing. But there's play on both ends. Now the only thing I can assume is that there's the holes that are drilled for this bracket here and the same for this bracket here aren't milled perfectly, and the screw just wheels in them a bit. But you can move this bracket here actually moves across the beam about plus or minus 2 mil either way. Don't understand how it should be able to do that. It shouldn't be able to do that in a theory because of the 2 screws, but it does. So it's taken me an hour and a half just to get it lined up, because you have to take all of this top off, you have to unscrew the Z, take it off of the thing, lay it down, measure how far it was out, then try. But the thing is, you're doing 0.5 millimeter increments here, equate to like 1.5 millimeters over this end, so it's very slight you have to do. I've finally got it that it's exactly the same both ends. How long that will last, I don't know. Number one, I was real pissy to sort out because it would have just been printed against the bed on this end, and then up here it would have been probably, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 mil above the bed. Not good engineering, not good planning whatsoever. So that aside, and got it all together, I thought, right, okay, just double check everything. She's very wobbly, as you can see, moving quite a lot. Nothing I can do about that. It's got to be the feet. The actual frame itself is out by quite a way, as you can see. So I think I might have to take that apart again, redo the frame. I don't know, I'm going to try print with it as is. Next we've got, I'm going to bring this down a bit and then I can zoom you right in. Just so, I thought I'll go around, double check everything. But as you can see, I'm pretty sure this isn't meant to happen. How much play is on the extruder head. I'm sure you can hear it. And you can probably, if we zoom right in, hopefully you guys will be able to see how much play there is. See? Now you can't tell me that's right because the head's just going to move. Surely this is one of the most important parts of the printer that you shouldn't be able to move. There's a good 2-3 millimeter play there. I can only assume that the screws that, let me turn it around for you so you can have a look. I'll just do it again, look. You can't tell me that's right. You couldn't, I don't think you could do a print like that at all. The print head has to be bang on every time. There's no way that would work. So again, it's badly machined holes, I would imagine. I'm gonna have to undo these here and this and tighten them right up, squeeze them down into this V-slot technology they use, which isn't technology, it's just that that's what shape the extrusions are. So there you go. What really annoys me is I've actually got the Ender version 2 on pre-order as well, and I really want to cancel it, but I can't. It's already taking the money. I really want to cancel that now because this is not, Creality is not the option, is not the way to go forward to. I think you're just going to have to pay for pruses. I am going to get work on this over the weekend, so I will carry on with the video a little bit later, but I'm going to have to take all this apart and really seat that little bastard. Until I fix that, I will stop right here. Once I've fixed that, we'll come back and we'll try again. How about that? See you in a bit.
Thousands of tears later.
Okay, so it's a new day. I have managed to get this to the point where I think I'm happy with it now. I'll go through, obviously you saw some of the problems I had yesterday with it. I'll go through all the problems one by one and the solutions that I've come up with as well. Basically, I've leveled the bed as well also. I had to because I had to test the power supply, which we'll get to in a minute. So really, basically, all we're waiting for now is to see the quality of the print. First off, once it was all built up together, I noticed that this, the extruder was not level. It was like that, it was pissed. Basically, it was 5 millimeters higher at one end than it was the other. What I found out was these two brackets here, here and here, that connects the E-axis onto the Z-axis, slots, the screw slots in the extruder are milled and tapped and everything perfect. The actual holes in the brackets where the screws go through to hold the bracket to the extrusion are not milled or anything like that. They're drilled. They're not precision drilled for the screws, so there's about 0.5 millimeter play in each one. And unless you get all 4 screws dead center, dead smack on, then you're going to have problems with this axis. Now, it took me about an hour to take it, because each time you have to take it off, take this off, take the whole E-axis off, undo the nuts, think you've got it lined up, put it back on, test it. If it isn't, you've got to take it back off again and redo it. So it took me about an hour to do it, but I did it. And I think I've got the tolerances just right now. And the only way to test that is to, once it's all done, is to test it against the bed as well, which we'll go to in a minute. Now that's done. The next thing was, as you guys saw in the video, the whole carriage for the extruder was really loose, like very loose. So there's no way that could have continued. All the screws and everything were all done up, all the nuts and everything like it. But it came like that, as you saw. So I decided to take that apart, took the extruder off, everything, took this back. It had to be a tightness issue on one of these nuts or bolts or whatever. And as you can see from this picture, there is on the bottom bolt here, there is this off-centered like washer. It's a kind of washer, but just a very big washer. And that off-center was obviously, it has to be in the right place for it to be tightened. I would imagine that's how they use to tighten the carriage to the extrusion, and that's how they get the tightness. They use this, and it goes round. Obviously, it was in the wrong place, or it was loose or something. Although I tested all these nuts and bolts and they weren't loose, so I think it was just in the wrong position. Put it all back together again with the. We'll try and remember this now. I think that the largest parts, the thickest part of the thing at the bottom of the carriage, pointing towards the heat bed, and that seemed to work. And it's tight as a camel's arse in a sandstorm now. No movement or anything like that. So I'm totally happy with that. I'm totally happy with the whole E-axis now and the extruder assembly and everything. I'm not happy with the wiring. I've got to work on that. I've got to try and, like I did with the Ender 5, I had to work on a lot of rerouting a lot of it, and it's come out quite nice now actually, which we'll go to in another video. But now the worst thing was, as you guys saw, when I switched it on, there was this crackling sound from the power supply, and it switched itself off. Tried it again, it was fine, it was okay. And I had a look, I thought, well, that's not right, obviously. It was a very horrible sound. It sounded like an arcing sound. When I took the power supply apart, you can see from these pictures here, one of the wires on the power supply from the power socket to the PSU was actually loose. It's just held on by the plastic, and that was causing the arcing. Even though it was working, obviously as soon as you touched it or moved anything, it would stop. So I would suggest that you check that when you get one of these. Make sure that those power cables are on nicely and snug. I had to take the whole thing apart to get it on properly. What it was is the spade connector, the female spade connector, had actually crimped in on itself, and it couldn't go any further down onto the male connector. So just in case of literally bending it with a little flathead screwdriver and putting it on. It was an easy peasy fix. It is now, I leveled, one other thing with the bed. Now, I don't know whether it's there's something indicative, because obviously I've got the Ender 5 Pro, which isn't working here. I had it working, but with this one as well, I found that when I've perfectly leveled the bed is perfectly level on the corners, but as soon as you move into the middle, you lose. It's not going. Obviously, we use the old trusty piece of paper, and it's nice and tight on the corners, but in the middle, it's just slopping around. There's no connection there between the nozzle and the paper. And what I found out on the Ender, I had the same problem on the Ender 5, and I think it's something to do with these beds. It must be something to do with these beds. But the fix I found on the Ender 5 was I cut a circular piece of paper out, just a piece of paper, and I've put that in the middle of the heat bed. Now, a lot of you might say, oh, you know, heat issues and things like that, but really at those temperatures, I think at 60 degrees, because I won't be painting anything higher bed than 60 degrees on there, it'll be fine. And it's a case of one of those, just check every couple of prints that it's still okay and it's not, you know, brown or anything like that. But I found on the Ender 5 that solved the problem, and it has done the same thing here. Now you can see, you won't be able to see it on camera, but you can see a brief outline of where the circle is underneath the bed, and there's a slight feel to it. But it makes all the difference. It actually now is, you know, the same all the way across the bed. And to be honest with you, in the middle is where you want it at the lowest anyway. That's where you're going to want most of your print to be connected to the bed. All I've got to do now is I've got to set it off in motion. I'll turn it on so you can have a listen. No arcing now. Yeah, I found the arcing just by pressing that, and I was thinking it's making that really awful sound that you know when electricity's not going right. You can hear the fan. There you go, that's the noise of the fan. I know if it's anything like the Ender 5, it's quite a quiet printer. Oh, got you, little bugger. Bloody mosquitoes. If it's anything like the Ender 5, it's really, quite a quiet printer as well. So I'm interested to see what it looks like, what the product is. Fingers crossed we can get one straight out the barrel. I'm going to do the sheep. That will run for about 2 or 3 hours if I remember rightly, one that's on the stick already. And we'll come back and have a look then and see what we've got. I might even do a couple of prints, maybe some of my work prints as well, see what that comes out with. All right, I'll see you in a bit.
The following day.
Okay, so it's been printing for about 26, 27 hours, and we've done a few little prints and a very large print. Yesterday was Monday the 4th, so I thought this was quite apt. We'll go through everything, do a final wrap up, and see what we think. Okay, so the prints I've done, as you can see from here, I'm going to zoom the camera in a little bit just so you can see a little bit better. There you go. First off, I did this. I did the little doggy that came on the mem stick. This is built on printed on a raft that comes on there, and as you can see, you can snap that off, and the bottom's quite nice. Does look quite good indeed. That is very good quality. There's a little bit of stringing on the back of the tail there, but apart from that, to be honest with you, I thought I was quite impressed. It's like the Ender 5, quite a good quality print, but so it should be because it's coming out of their print shop. Okay, then I did a little white benchy. I had to lower the Z just a little bit for this one, and that came out extremely well as well. A little tiny bit of stringing here and there, but apart from that, the quality of the print is again very good, I thought. As you see, a little bit of stringing on the inside of the cabin and things like that. I then went ahead and did a Darth Vader head, as you can see. Now this was in these are in the original white PLA that came with the machine, and these ones are in, this is Prusa Galaxy Black, which I absolutely love this filament. I think it's a really nice filament, really do like it. And that came out very well indeed. And this is on the 0.2 setting. Now what I did do is I sliced this through Prusa Slicer, because they've got an Ender 3 setting on there, preset, and it's come out absolutely gorgeous. The base is spot on. There's a tiny little bit of ends foot, but I think I had to squidge that down. That's why, which I'll come to in a second. But apart from that, quality of the print's excellent. Really impressed with that, actually. You know, very impressed with that. I did set it perfect 0 came out for the Benchy and the dog, a great 0, and then for some reason it lost its 0 on the Z, and this one came out really rough. So then I reset it again, and this one came out perfect, as you can hear. I then did one of these. Now this is, as you can see on the machine, I've actually put one on the machine as well. It's just a filament clip that you can download from Thingiverse. The file will be down in the description, the link for it. Definitely needs it. This is the one thing that I've looked at and I thought, right, that's a necessity. Otherwise the clip, the filament comes down here and it can kind of hit on the Z screw, and it doesn't really sit right properly. It's a design fault. You can move this further across, but to be honest with you, any weight that's on the machine, I like to keep that central over the center of the machine rather than on one side or one particular axis or anything like that, because then it's just going to promote wobble. So I'll put that in the middle, and this is invaluable. It's an hour print. I printed 2 of them, one with a little slot in it so you can just slide the filament in, like so, and I did one that's a solid hole, which I'm going to keep on. Because of the retractions and everything, I think that's a possibility for it to get snagged. So that works. I like that. Good little mod. As I say, the file's down below for it, and that's perfect. Sits in there. Just literally, you take the end cap off of the extrusion, and it just fits in there, nice and snug and tight. So very good indeed. The other thing I did do is I took the silicone shoe off. I don't like them. I really don't. I think they just hide any problems that happened on my Ender 5. This hid the problem. So for quite a few prints. So I've decided to take them off. I don't like them. I prefer to see the nozzle, to be honest with you, in its entirety when it's printing. So the other thing was that I printed was this. I thought I'd done lots of little prints. These were all, you know, between 1 and 2 hours. So I thought I'd do a 24-hour print, see how it copes with that. The machine is noisy. You can't really have it on a room and field or anything like that, or it would be too noisy for a bedroom, things like that. But this, let's just zoom in a bit for this one. This is a low poly Darth. Now it's part of a figure that you can download, but I just thought I did the head. As you can see, that's where the fitment goes. And I like it so much, I may do a very large, full-size one of these. I do love the low poly Darth. There's a low poly Stormtrooper and an RTD2 on there as well. But I'll put the link in for this as well from Thingiverse. And this was done in Galaxy Prusa Galaxy Black 0.2. And as you can see, didn't lose its zero on that one. It's actually beautiful, beautiful base. Tiny little bit of hairs here and there, but I think that's going to be expected. The quality is very good. The lines, the Galaxy Black does hide the lines very well, I have to say. But it's come out very smooth, feels good, it looks good. This looks like something you would buy from a shop and be happy if you purchased that. As you can see, very good indeed. I like that one. So printing, I'm impressed with it. As a printer, I'm impressed with it. I was happy with the prints that came out. So I think it's time for final thoughts. Final thoughts are, is this a beginner's printer? It's a yes and a no. It depends on the technical ability of the person buying the printer. It's one of those that it needs faffing about with. It does need tuning. As I've already explained to you before we did the builds and everything, it did need a bit of faffing about. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could be banging your head against a brick wall for a while and not enjoying it. So is it a beginner's printer? Yes, it is. For the price, it's brilliant entry level. Can't grumble at that. And at $250, I'd definitely say this is better than the normal one, which has not got the extras on here, which you've seen before. Power supply, so I had a problem with that, which shouldn't have been. But again, there was that, the bed, the access. Just niggling points that if you don't know about this one being perfectly level, then you'd never be able to level your bed properly. The other thing is this surface. I do actually really like this surface. I have to say it's very flexible, and I can imagine that over time it will go. But I don't know if you can see that on there. I'll try and reflect maybe on the back side. There's these marks here where I've had to really bend it to get a bit of stuck plastic off, maybe a bit of the edge or some part, and it's left an indentation in the actual mat itself, and I don't think that's going to come out, to be honest with you. And obviously you have to put this bit of paper in there, which I found with the Ender 5 as well, so I think that's a common problem with this bed. So yeah, there's that problem with the bed. Apart from that, I managed to get it level and everything. It was just I had to push in one of the feet to stop it from wobbling and everything. That worked. Definitely needs the filament guide. Okay, you definitely need that. That's the first thing you should do when you purchase the printer. In fact, if you've got a printer, print one out ready. If you haven't, this should be one of the first prints you do. Really important that, because that filament is going to get caught up in there for some reason. In the feeder, if you look on this picture here. You can see how close the filament is to the feeder itself, and when that's coming down off of here, it's coming straight down against the screw and everything. So definitely a little design fault, so that needs rectifying. The cable management, again, same as the Ender 5, it needs work. This has got to come out of this gets caught on on the power supply for the bed at the back. So that's got to be moved. I'm going to put something probably around the motor on the extruder motor there. It's going to go around there, and I think that should be fine. It's just going to have a cable tie or something like that. I can't see any other way of doing it really. Apart from that, the rest of the cables are fine. I think obviously the other con was the power supply came with a very loose cable, and that caused arcing, which is dangerous. The other thing you do have to do with these straight away is you put a back on the back of the control board. The PCB behind there comes bare. If you touch it, you're going to short out possibly, most likely, short out the printer when it's printing and things like that. So there's a very thin, small back that you can print, which I like. It's better than the big, thick ones. It takes an hour to print. It's very thin, quite flexible, and it just fits on the existing screws there. And I'll put a link down for that one as well. That's definitely worth doing. That and the filament guide. The other thing is I'm going to get some new springs because these springs aren't tight enough for the bed leveling. Sorry, you're seeing that. As you can see, I'm going to have to re-level this after this, but as you can see, they move too easy. There's not enough tension in the springs. If you knock, you can knock it very easily. You can turn it very easily. And I think that's the reason why it zeroed. I might have knocked one of them at some point somehow. Well, it lost its zero at one point. So I definitely want to get some stronger springs for that because there's just not enough tension there to hold the wheel in place. And I think over time, you'll have to reset your zero quite often because that will move. I mean, it's definitely when that printer's moving backwards and forwards. I haven't checked after I did the 24-hour print. I haven't checked that. So it'd be interesting to see if that's still the same or anything. Apart from that, those are the only down points. Assembly is pretty easy if you know what you're doing. If not, the instructions are a bit lame. But there is a video that comes on the USB stick that you can just put on your computer or download it onto your iPad and use that while you're building or whatever. So that's quite handy. And that's one of their guys building it in the factory. The pros are, it does print very well, I think. There's some noticeable layer lines here and there, but there's no blemishes or anything like that. You can't see there was only 5% infill on this. You can't see any of the lines. You can't see any of the joins. They're all very strapped flake lines. I mean, the Prusa is better quality, don't get me wrong. The Prusa does print better quality than that. The Mini print's better quality than this as well. But I think for €250, £220, $270, you're laughing, you can't go wrong. Is it a first printer? Yes, if you're one of these people that doesn't mind possibly fiddling with things and but out of the box, no, it's going to need a fiddle, that's for sure. The other thing, the important thing, what I'm looking for is to see if I can replace my workhorse models for my print farm. Can I use this? Because I can get 3 of these for the price of a single Mark III Prusa. And no, I don't think so. I don't know the reliability. I'm going to give this to my son. My son's aching to get a printer. He's 13 years old now. He knows he's practiced on Tinkercad. He can do all that online. So I'm going to give him this printer and say it's dedicated for him. And he's going to start printing on it. So it'll be interesting. He wants to print loads of Halo rifles, like in sections, and then glue them all together. He loves Halo. So we're going to use that. That'll be printing continuously, I'm sure. So it'll be interesting to see in a month's time how that's faring, whether any of the parts have worn. Again, I don't like these. I don't like these wheels. They're just going to wear, they are going to wear, even though they are carbon, they're going to wear. So over time, those are going to need replacing as well. But apart from that, I think it's a great printer. For the money, it is a great printer. And I think that's been proven time and time again by all the other people that have got them and how many they've sold. As an entry-level one, yes, it'll work. Go for the Pro, don't go for the normal one. Apparently, from what I've read since I bought this, there's a lot less fiddling you have to do with this one. You get much more consistent results as well, mainly because of the double extrusion at the bottom here. And the power supply is much more reliable. So it's definitely worth spending that extra little bit of cash. I mean, $50 is not a lot. It's not a lot in the scheme of things if you want to buy a machine that you want to last for years. I like it. It came very quickly from Creality EU, which is where I bought it from. I still haven't got my repaired piece for the Ender 5 yet from them. I'm still waiting. But it was delivered in a week, even during this crisis at the moment. It came from Germany to Spain reasonably quickly, so I was quite happy with that. I've got the Ender 3 version 2 on pre-order as well, so fingers crossed I should get that. I think it's late June, early July, the release date for that, so I should get that soon as well. But I think if you've got spare 250 quid and you're looking to get into printing and you're not sure whether to do it, you're not going to waste your money on this. You will get it working, even if you're not technically minded, you will get it working eventually, with a bit of perseverance and patience to get you into 3D printing. It is good for the money. You're not losing a lot of money if you don't enjoy it. That's for sure. I can't understand anyone who doesn't enjoy 3D printing, actually. You go from designing something, thinking of something, designing it on a computer, and making what you've thought of reality within a few hours. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Really do. Still impresses me. I still love just sitting there watching them print, I have to say. Anyway, so that is the Ender 3 Pro from Creality. It is a thumbs up from me. I think it's a great machine for the price. I probably won't get any more. It's not going to be a farm machine, I don't think. I do honestly feel it's going to need a lot of tinkering, a lot of the switches as well, things like that. They're all going to go. So that it's not a farm machine. The Prusa's, I mean, as I say, I've had those banging away for 2 years, 24/7, and they're still going up workhorses. It's still got the original beds. It's not a farm machine, but 1 or 2 of them, I might buy another one. I've got the version 2 on the way, so I've got 2 of those and an Ender 5 as well, which is pretty much this in a frame, a more solid frame, really. I'm happy with that. I won't get any more of those, but I will have a look at see future models, what they bring out. I might go and have a look at another couple of other brands like G-Tech and things like that, and see what they've got to offer. But I am running out of space, that's for sure. Okay, so that's it for this month. Hopefully I'll get another one out before the end of the month or next month with regards to 3D. But as always, please like, subscribe and comment. And we endeavour to answer all questions or comments that you have on our videos and everything. But until next time, take care. Bye-bye.